Hey guys, it's Chris here. So I want to talk about LTL, some myths and legends about it, and how it can be beneficial for your business and how to do it, especially if you're a small seller. So this is 2 pallets that we've just made, and let's start with the advantages of LTL. So we just made these 2 pallets yesterday, okay? So we finished these. This is 1,800 units of inventory. Is it 1,800 units? Okay, it's 1,800 units. It is 2,320 pounds. Now, I typically pay 18 cents a pound. Let's call it 20 cents so I can do the math in my head real easily. So at 2,300 pounds, I would be paying about 500 bucks to ship this, give or take. Okay, a little bit less than that. So this is $500 in shipping. However, it doesn't say on the bill of lading, I paid $120, okay? So I'm paying 1/4 the cost. So this is about 4 cents a pound to ship this LTL. Now I'm shipping from Altoona, Pennsylvania to Hazleton, Pennsylvania. So do the math accordingly. Some people ask me like, well, how much is it gonna be to ship from here to here? I don't know, okay? But LTL really makes that happen. Now, the overall process is you have to, instead of selecting SPD or small parcel delivery, which is what most people do when they do UPS or USPS, the fulfillment center, or I guess distribution center. And I don't know why anybody would do USPS, but if you do UPS, this is pretty familiar to you. Instead of selecting small parcel delivery, we would select LTL. Now, then you sticker your boxes or your items just like normal. There's no difference in that. But at the end, you then put a sticker on the outside of each box. So you see here I have these stickers, okay? These are actually on the boxes under the wrap, okay? Your ideal weight, you have to look in Seller Central for LTL. All the specs are there. Basically, they want your pallets to be 72 inches or less. I'm 6 foot tall, so 6 feet. I'm about 72 inches tall, okay? So you want to be 72 inches or less. Look that up. I actually might be wrong about that. But we're doing these as 3 stacks because the boxes we're using, that works best. We really could put another layer on this, and there's a big difference between stackable pallets and non-stackable pallets. These are all non-stackable pallets because they're too heavy, okay? This one pallet here, this pallet's 1,220 pounds. This pallet here is 1,100 pounds. So when you look at the way the weight breaks down on it, these are not stackable anyway, so it's totally cool to put these couple extra little boxes on. So basically, you have your boxes all, your items stickered, you put them in the box, and then you have to put these labels on the outside. So then you wrap it. So these are all pallet wrap. These are all triple wrapped, okay? I think you're supposed to do like triple at the bottom, double in the middle, triple on top. I don't know how it works, but I just do them triple the whole way because it's not that hard to do. And then you put 4 stickers. So there's 4 stickers all the way around, and it's pretty easy. So with LTL, after I set that up, or after I finish the shipment, I have to put the weight in. Now, I have a pallet scale. So I just have a scale in the warehouse that I can just put a pallet on. It tells me how much it weighs. But pretty typically, you just put 70 pounds, if you don't have a pallet scale, which most people don't have a pallet scale, you put 70 pounds in for the weight of the pallet, okay? And you could weigh your pallet if you want to have an actual weight, and then each box you would just add up. I've done that before I had a pallet scale. So after you do that, then they're gonna select a shipping company in your area. I use STs all the time. Sometimes we also use YRC. And then you print out your bill of lading, okay? So now what I gotta do is I gotta take this down and pick this, get this in position for the truck driver. So the advantage to LTL, I already kind of explained. I'm paying 125 bucks to ship these boxes, and I don't know how many boxes. So this is 52 boxes, okay? So my normal cost for a box is about $9. I'm actually paying closer to $4, okay? So no, it's even less than that because that would be, I don't want to do math in my head. So it's like $3. All this stuff, it's actually less than $3. So this is saving me so much money. Now, one of the things that you hear about LTL, let's talk about, I went over some advantages. It's actually pretty easy to do. It's also really easy to get out of here. Some dude's gonna show up with a truck. He's gonna take this right out. These boxes, this is gonna be faster to get loaded into the truck than if I did UPS, okay? So that's nice. It's fast and it's cheap. I like that. I'm fast and cheap, okay? Disadvantages. It is a pain in the ass if you don't have a warehouse, okay? So one disadvantage is the way LTL works, and I have not run into this, but plenty of people have told me horror stories of this. So when Estes picks this up, they're going to then put it into this like pass through, and sometimes it can sit at a trucking company for like, I've heard people talk about it being for months. Okay, I've also heard people talk about like their shipments getting stolen and stuff, and so it's very important to do a declared value. Okay, so the declared value on this shipment is $5,000, which this inventory cost me about $5,000. So that's why we did $5,000. It might be better to do a little bit more because it's not really expensive to insure these. But so the trucking company picks it up, and then they have to store it until they get enough to go to the warehouse, the Amazon warehouse. Now, I happen to live in an area where like there's a lot of sellers out of Pittsburgh, so it's actually pretty quick. We usually get stuff, so it's Tuesday. This is probably going to be delivered at Amazon by Friday, is going to be my guess, and it's going to be received real quick. Okay, I also want to point one other thing. Well, let me finish that. So sometimes it can take longer to get to the Amazon warehouse. Another thing that's important about LTL is that when you're shipping UPS, I realize how dark this video is going to come out, so I am sorry, guys. That's a little bit better. When I'm shipping UPS, my goal is always to get the box as close to 50 pounds as possible. Because these boxes, even in LTL, this box has to be 50 pounds or less. Unless, of course, it's one item, then it's 70 pounds, all that crap. So the problem here, or the thing that's interesting about LTL, is that it actually doesn't matter how many cartons I use. So we do use these boxes, these small boxes, these all weigh 48, 49 pounds. But you see these down here, this row down here, this is a much denser product. Or it's actually not denser, I don't know what the right word would be for it. So these boxes here at the bottom actually only weigh like 30 pounds because it doesn't matter. If I put a box on, this box right here is only, does not say how much it weighs. 2010, doesn't tell me how much it weighs. But the thing is that these, 39 pounds, and then this is like 22 pounds. So it doesn't really matter how much your boxes weigh. So what's actually most important is to use the most structurally sound boxes. So we are just using these small U-Hauls here, which work really good. But you know, there's some boxes, some items we ship, we just use a tiny box because it just works out well. So next disadvantage of LTL is that normally you gotta have a dock, okay? That's really important. So I have a dock, we have a loading dock and everything, or you have to have a way to get it from ground level into a truck. So you can, I know people that are Amazon sellers that ship out of their garage and they just have a forklift or a pallet stacker. You get a forklift pretty cheap. My forklift was probably, I think it was like $3,000, okay? And it's like 40 years old. Dude I got it from, he told me, he's like, oh, it's my grandmother's forklift. It's legit like 40 years old. But it works. It works, I mean, I guess it works. It works well enough for what I'm doing. That being said, you can also get a pallet stacker pretty cheap, and with places shutting down, pallet stackers are gonna be on Craigslist real cheap. Now, what a pallet stacker looks like is basically a pallet jack, but it's got hydraulics or something in it that lifts it and you can move it. Most pallet stackers, the cheap ones, are manual, so you gotta move them. Well, I mean, here's the thing. This pallet right here is 1,200 pounds. So if you're planning on doing this without a dock, you need to be doing this on perfectly level surface, and a truck has to be able to get up close to where you are. Okay, so like a residential street is just probably not gonna work, okay? You can't move a 1,200 pound pallet like over a curb or anything. You'll kill yourself. Don't try to do it. But there's solutions to this. back at my old warehouse, we still did LTL a few times. Way I did it was we knew the size of the pallet, we knew the size of the box, okay, we knew all that. So we made this shipment, but we didn't put it on the pallet. We actually did put it on the pallet, but in my warehouse. So what I did was I knew that ST's was going to be who picked up the pallet for me from Amazon. So I actually called ST's and I said, I have a question. I'm going to be shipping a pallet to Amazon. I was like, weird question. Can I make the pallet in your parking lot? And they're like, yeah, it's a weird question, but yeah, sure, we don't care. So what I actually did was I labeled everything, weighed everything. I know all of this. You know, like, this is pretty easy to figure out. This is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this is 3 layers. This is 27 boxes, 29 boxes right here, right? Yeah, 29 boxes. So I can put all of that data in and weigh everything and break down the pallets and actually virtually build the pallet without ever actually making the pallet. So I then labeled each box and I took it over to the ST's parking lot with pallets, my pallet wrap, and everything, and I actually just made the pallets in the parking lot. Now, this sounds like a huge pain in the ass, and it was, but keep something in mind. At this point in time, that shipment that I did, it was bird seed, okay? It was 6 pallets, okay, of bird seed. So very dense, very heavy product, and it came into me. It probably would have been $1,500 to ship. And one of the things about LTL is that there's not a huge price difference going from 2 pallets to 4 pallets to 6 pallets to 8 pallets. We've done shipments upwards of 12 pallets before. Has been pretty much our biggest outbound for my inventory. And when we do that, it's like a few $100. It's like, I think the last time we did 12, it was like $400. So that's not that expensive. It's like $30 a pallet to ship this stuff. It's almost the cost of like 2 boxes. So the thing is that when I did those 6 bird seeds, what I did was I loaded all the inventory into my truck. I had an employee with me. We unloaded the truck in the parking lot of the shipping company, and then I came back, loaded the rest of it into the truck. It took 2 truckloads to get all of that stuff over to the parking lot, and then we wrapped it and everything. I had left the employee there to watch it, make sure nobody stole my bird seed. But I mean, we did it, okay? And then they came out with a forklift, picked it up, and put it in their dock, and it went to Amazon, and it got sold. So if you don't have access to a loading dock, that's a route you can do, okay? But you will have to communicate with the trucking company beforehand. That means you need to know the trucking company beforehand. It just so happens in my area, it's almost always STs or YRC. So the other thing, and here's the other thing, STs and YRC, they're literally right next to each other. So if I would have had to have moved it, I could have probably paid some dude with a forklift like 20 bucks, like, hey, you move these 6 pallets over there, would have done. They're literally right next to each other. Now, another thing that you could do, and I recommended this to my friend Nicole, is use another business, okay? So, you know, I've been getting this picked up. The address is kind of arbitrary. So if I know somebody that has a loading dock, I could kind of do my trick where I make the pallet in the parking lot of the trucking company, but I could also just do it at somebody else's business that has a loading dock. Okay, so like my friend Lynn, okay, Lynn, hey Lynn Chesney, talking to you. Actually, Lynn White, talking to you. If Lynn wanted to send out a pallet, she could make the pallet at her house. By the way, Lynn's a friend of mine. She's a local Amazon seller, and she's my mom's childhood best friend. So it's real weird, real small world out there. So if Lynn said to me, hey Chris, I want to send a pallet to Amazon, I could say, okay Lynn, well here's my address, have them pick it up. She could make this whole pallet, bring it to me, and make it in my loading dock, and then I could wrap it and she could have somebody pick it up. Now of course that makes sense because it's FBA, but there's plenty of people, I mean, you might know somebody that owns a grocery store, or owns some sort of business, a nursery, something like that, that you could have it picked up from there instead of your address. So if you're in a residential area where it's not practical to do pallets, you could have it, you know, picked up somewhere else. That's commonly done, okay? So I just wanted to talk here about some of the disadvantages of LTL and some of the advantages. If you have the space to do it, you got the warehouse, all that stuff, it's a massive money saver. It's a massive time saver. I think that this is so much faster than having to dick around with having UPS pick up stuff. Now I have posted pictures, and I will tell you right now, I'm gonna use a picture of some pallets that I sent outbound like a year ago, but those actually were not LTL. So if you ever see me post pictures of really poorly wrapped pallets, like these are really nicely wrapped. These are really on there. But if you ever see poorly wrapped pallets, I actually have UPS usually do my pickups by pallet. So we make it on the pallet, and then UPS just sends over like a little box truck and picks it up instead of doing the standard brown box truck. So that's why if you look at the cover photo that I use for this video, it's probably you're probably, if you do LTL enough, you're gonna be like, Chris, you're really bad at wrapping pallets. And I am. I will tell you that right now. I am bad at it. But I got myself a pallet wrapping machine. I just need to get it electrified because I think it's 480. So I just haven't had the electrician come over and set it up for me because we got to run something off the bus bar to get it over here to where we are. So yeah, whatever. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to talk about LTL for a minute because it is something that if you're going to be doing a lot of stuff, especially grocery, it can save you a really good amount of money, and it might be something that's a little bit easier to do than you may think. Also, I said about somebody, grocery stores, that kind of stuff. Some storage facilities have loading docks. There's a loading dock, there's a storage facility in my area that has loading docks. I just know this because I drive by it. They have dock height loading docks. So, it can be pretty nice to do, and maybe you could work something out with somebody else to help them, to help you, and to have somebody, for you to say, hey, I'll give you $50 so that I can make the pallet, and then when the trucking company shows up, you let them load it. So my trucking company, when they show up, I'm not allowed to touch the pallets. It's like an insurance thing. So they show up with their own pallet jack, everything. I'm not allowed to touch it once the guy's here. It's real weird because I want to help the dude. He's 80, but whatever. He's a nice guy. So anyway, just something to keep in mind. I'm always trying to be creative with things, and doing LTL is something that I know a lot of people think is a daunting challenge, but it's really pretty easy. Okay. Anyway, guys, if you do have any more questions, feel free to comment them in the video. And also, I'm going to link to the LTL help page in Seller Central that will answer probably most questions, because I may have given some bad numbers in this. You got to look at what the requirements are, because we never really make our pallets that big because we're shipping groceries. So this is dense as hell. So anyway, guys, I will talk to you later, and I hope that this video was helpful and maybe gave you a different perspective on LTL, because it is something you can do as a small Amazon seller and make money on, or save money with. Anyway, guys, talk to you later. Bye-bye.